talked about derivatives at all?
No.
No, okay, because she used the word derivative?
Yeah.
Okay. So, derivatives and limits for your rate of change. So basically what you're gonna do is you guys have been talking about limits this whole time. This leads up into what derivatives are. So even though like eventually you're gonna know like a shortcut to tell me that the derivative of x squared plus 4 is 2x. Okay, but this is also a way you can do it doing limits. So this section kind of transitions you from limits into derivatives and what derivatives are and how you find them. Okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you the shortcut for this yet, because you won't learn that until like chapter 3, I think. Maybe chapter 4, and look that far ahead. And literally just focus on this section, okay? Alright, do you know what a tangent line of the curve is?
Oh, where it's like that. To the curve.
To the curve, okay. So when you're finding, like tangent line, it goes through a point on the curve, right? Okay.
It goes like that.
Because
You
like
can find the
that.
slope. You can like find the slope of a specific point.
Like if this is your point, this is your tangent, it's the slope of a curved line at that point.
I don't remember that.
Okay? Because technically you can only find the slope of a linear line, right?
Right.
I know it's like redundant, linear line, but a line like this is technically the only thing that has slope, right? But by being able to find the tangent of the line, you're able to find the slope of like a parabola now, or a hyperbola.
Did we already learn how to do that?
I think
I
so.
think we did.
You should have, I think so.
I think we did, but I don't remember it being called a tangent line.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
what's
so
the tangent line?
I don't think you've talked about how to find the slope of it yet, because that's where the section starts out as.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe you did. I don't know.
Well, either way, we forgot it. So.
Okay, so this is called definition number 1 in your book, and you'll need to know this because when you get to your homework, they're going to say like solve it using definition number 1 or equation 2. So this is your definition number 1. Okay, and I'm going to write the whole thing out, but you really only need to know the formula. So the tangent line to the curve f of x y equals f of x, I'm sorry. At point P, which is a f of a. Okay, and that just means you're given the a, how you find the y part is you plugged in the a. I know this is confusing how they say this, okay? This just means x and y. That's what a point is, yeah.
So what does y equals f of x mean?
That just means you're going to be given a function, and this is whatever variables are over here.
Okay.
So like this would be this. This is my f of x. Like if this was what my equation was, this is your f of x. It's just your function.
Why do they have to complicate normal equations?
No, I
It's
don't
because they're so
know.
smart.
They can do
Calculus.
I feel like you guys get caught up in like the terminology and not really like
That's
what.
because it's dumb.
I'm sorry. At point P is a line through P.
What?
Okay, so we're talking about how you're finding, so you know the tangent line. Okay, now we're talking about how you find your slope. Okay, with slope, and here's the formula you need to know. The
Just
slope.
repeat and not repeat.
Okay, you should already know that M stands for slope, right? Yes, Miss Riley?
Yes,
Yes,
so you
Okay, is the limit as x goes to a.
Oh, darn it.
Okay, now, a is just whatever your x is in the point, okay? So if my point was 2, 4, this would be as x goes to 2. Okay? F of x minus f of a divided by x minus a.
Why didn't you tell me it would be a division? I have to erase it.
I didn't ask. I did not tell
What did
you.
you put underneath?
No, that takes up 2 lines.
Oh my goodness.
That's so hard. Thank you.
Okay, now, don't let this formula confuse you. Okay, f of x, that's just whatever the function is. F of a, that's after you've plugged in the a value. divided by x minus whatever that value is. Okay?
So whatever the like in the brain.
They're gonna give you a point, yes. They'll give you the equation and they'll give you the point. Okay, so like, let's just do an example. Okay, find an equation. I think your first test is next week. Okay.
It's left me alone, but I need to make sure.
Perfectly confident about this test.
So apparently my mom is teaching the same class that we're learning for physics. And she's on chapter 10.
I thought I told you guys.
Like 2.
Hey, it's fine.
Did she teach them over a semester and it was over a whole year?
No,
Yeah.
hers is over a whole year.
Oh, okay.
Your
She
mom.
said,
Maybe she's just jumping around.
and her students hate her. They all cheat. She's passing them.
It's pretty much like high school.
Yeah. Yeah, but she comes home and she's just like, that was the worst class of cheating I've ever had.
Maybe they're the worst at hiding it.
Okay, now, in order to write an equation of a line, you need to have a point and you need to have slope, okay? So we already have the point. This is the equation we're gonna use to find the slope, okay? Does that make sense? You remember point slope form? Okay, if not, when we talk about it, you'll know what it is. Okay, so I wanna find the limit as x goes to a. Well, if this is my point, this is my a, and this is my f of a. I don't know, I wrote f of 1. Okay, so this would be the limit as x goes to 1. Okay, f of x, that's your function, so x squared. I'm making 2 lines, Ruthie, because it's the division, okay. Minus, okay, my f of a, so it's like this point plugged in. Well, if I plug in 1, 1 squared was 1, but that's the same thing as here. Okay, so minus 1,
Is that what's in the same?
yes, as long as you're given the point. But it's this point plugged in, okay? Divided by x minus, okay, what's my a value?
1.
1.
So,
Okay, now can I plug in 1 right away? No, so what do we do?
you do. Well, it's
Difference of
x
square.
plus 1 is.
Okay, difference of squares. And then what happens? The x minus 1's cancel. So x plus 1, and now can I find the limit as x goes to 1? Yeah, what is the limit as x goes to 1?
2.
2. This is your slope of the line. Okay? So now I know that my slope is 2, and I still have the point, 1, 1. So now we have to write our equation. So this would be, if I use point slope form, y minus the y number, so y minus 1 equals my slope times x minus the x number. You remember point slope form now? Okay, and then distribute. Ruthie, your facial expressions make me laugh.
Wait, what?
Oh no, you just like had a smirk. So y minus 1 equals 2x minus 2.
I didn't mean to have a smirk, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Then I add 1, so this would be 2x minus 1.
You said on the left side that's the y value. Y minus y.
Yes,
That
yep.
was suspicious.
So y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. Now you could just do slope intercept form and plug in, which I think is how Ms. Reese teaches in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that if you want. I just like point slope form better. How you feel about definition number 1?
Good.
I said it was suspiciously easy.
Yeah.
Suspiciously easy.
Yeah.
I think the first chapter and a half of calculus is harder than actually doing like derivatives and integrals. That's just my opinion, because you guys like more concrete. You don't like theory. Derivatives isn't theory, it's concrete. So. Okay, so this is one way, and then you'll learn in the by the end of the section, this is actually the formula for the derivative. But there's also another way, which is actually easier than this when you're dealing with most problems, okay? And they refer to that as equation 2 in your, when they say solve things, this is definition 1, and they call this equation 2.
Oh, that's
They have definition 1, like equation 2, like.
In every
for
section?
every section.
Yeah, but it's like,
Like
what are
this-
they talking about when they
Yeah.
go to it, yeah.
They should name them. Like that one should
Yeah,
be
well,
like
what if you need one in
the
a different
slope of
chapter?
a
Slope of
tangent
tangent
line.
line, yeah.
But like if you go to a different chapter, like there's already a definition 1, so it's gonna get confusing.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay, so this is also how you find the slope of a tangent line.
That's why they couldn't do that.
Okay, but here is why this is a little bit easier. Because it's going to say as h goes to 0. Now instead of plugging in values, you may not have a point, but you'll have the equation. And we're going to do the same problem with using this method, okay? But this would be, it's 2 lines, Ruthie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. F of a plus h minus f of a divided by h. So really all you have to know is where it's approaching a, but you don't even have to know what a is. You could always just plug in what a is. Okay?
So
This
is
will-
H like X?
Huh?
Or H and X similar?
Similar, yes. So this would be like if we don't know, we're gonna assume we don't know that this is the point,
Okay.
okay? I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. When I just wanna find the derivative of the function, but I don't need to actually find the slope value, this is a lot easier, because this will just give you what the derivative is.
What is a derivative?
Well, that's why we're not there yet, I'm working my way there, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so, but if you're actually finding specific points and they give you what that point is, this would probably be an easier way. Okay? So I'm gonna do the exact same problem using this method. Is that okay, or do you wanna do a different one? Same one? Okay, so this would be the limit as h goes to 0. Okay, now before I plug everything, I'm gonna write what it would look like. Okay, what's my a value, since we already know it? 1, okay. So I'm not plugging them in yet, but this would be the f of 1 plus h minus the f of 1 divided by h.
Are they gonna give you the A and
They'll either give you a point or they'll say find it at a,
Oh, okay.
okay? And then this will always be as h goes to 0, so at the end you're going to get rid of all your h's because you'll put it in. We just can't plug it in now because you can't divide by 0. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, are you with me so far?
So-
I haven't even plugged anything in. I'm just saying we already knew a was 1. Right? Because we know this point. Okay. So what this says is when I have my function f, which my function is x squared, I'm going to put in 1 plus h in for my x's. So this is really the limit as h goes to 0. This would be, my function's x squared, 1 plus h squared. Right, because my function is x squared, so this is my function, and I'm putting this in for x. Okay, minus, I put 1 in for x. Well, what do I get when I put 1 in for x?
1 squared.
And what's 1 squared?
1.
Do we put 1 squared to show it?
Yeah.
The steps? Okay. Divided by h. Everybody's good so far? Okay, so now I gotta simplify this because I still can't put 0 in for h because you can't divide by 0. Okay, so then I would FOIL this out. So this is 1 plus h times 1 plus h minus 1 over h. And I know you're gonna tell me this isn't shorter, but you're gonna have to be able to do this when you don't have a point. Okay. So this would be 1 plus, can I skip a step and say 2h plus h squared?
Yes.
Okay. Does everybody know how I got that?
Yeah.
Minus 1 over h. Which if I simplify this, this would be 2h plus h squared over h. Right? So then what happens? Now, you can divide everything by h. So then I have 2 plus h. And my limit says as h goes to 0, so this would be 2 plus 0, which is 2. And didn't we know that the slope was already 2 because we did it this way, right? So this is definition 1. Okay, hang on, then we would have to find our line, right? If we're doing exactly the same thing.
How did we turn h into 0?
Because that's what it starts out as.
Oh,
Okay. So then you would do y minus, okay? Does that make sense?
So how would you do that if they didn't give you a point?
Okay, so then that's when I would do y equals mx plus b and find it, or y minus y1. Now, when you're technically doing it this way, they will either give you a point, like we did here, okay, and they'll say find it using equation 2, or they're gonna just say find what this value is, or equation is, which will then lead to, like, that'll be what, this is actually what the derivative is. You won't have to, like, actually find any other value, does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay, they'll give you what you need. How do you feel about that? Do you need to do another example? Yes, Corey?
How did you get 1 plus h squared?
Okay, so this means that this is my function, f of x functions. This is what I'm plugging in for x, and then we're just using the same equation that I used from example 1. So literally, whatever's in parentheses just gets plugged in for x.
So they'll give us a formula?
Yes, they will always give you the formula,
Alright.
okay? I'm actually gonna do another one where they don't give you a point, but we're gonna use the same equation too. Okay? How we okay? Can I erase some things? Okay.
oh man. Yep.
This is your definition. Kind of. It's not gonna be a good enough definition for you guys, I already know that. Okay,
We have high
so-
standards here.
Huh?
We have high standards here.
You do have high standards. You have higher standards in the math book. I already know you're not gonna like it, because you're like, well, what's a derivative? Okay, so first off, a derivative. If you're gonna see something and they refer to it as a derivative, you're gonna see the apostrophe up there. Kind of like what you saw like in geometry for like prime when you translated things. But that stands for derivative. So this is the derivative of function f at number a. Is how you would read this. Okay? Now, this is why you're not going to like it, because it's just a formula. Okay, it's the limit
Oh no.
as h goes to 0 of f of a plus h minus f of a over h. Okay, have you seen that anywhere?
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
also
that
how
one.
you find the slope of a tangent line.
So is that what a derivative is?
Yes, it is. It's the tangent of that. Okay, but you don't always know what the point is. You just know it's how you find the tangent of that function.
So it's basically equation 2.
Yes. Or you can do equation 1, but people don't really use equation 1 very often because you have to be given more information. Which was what? The limit as x goes to a of f of x minus f of a. This will.
That equation.
This one will be used way more often because you don't have to know a point. So this doesn't matter where you're finding the tangent on the line, this is the equation that you're going to use to help you. Just like this would be the slope of that line. We don't know the point we're using, but we know where it would occur.
That doesn't make sense.
I know, I knew you would like it. Okay? So
How do you
this is,
find the slope of a point?
you don't have the
point.
slope, but you'd have to know the point. Okay, it's giving you the equation that if you knew the point, you could plug that in to find the slope.
Let's just do it.
Hang on one second. Okay,
So what did
All right.
you find in the last two questions?
you have found the slope at a specific point, okay?
Uh-huh.
So, okay, here's my function. My function was x squared. If I just found the derivative of this is 2x. This doesn't tell me what the slope of a particular point is or what the value at that point is. I know you don't know how I got here, okay? But this is just the derivative of that. Here you found the specific slope at this point. Okay? So we don't know what a is
Okay.
when you're finding derivatives. Okay. Oh. I know you guys hate. Do you want to write 2 or 3? Or just, I don't even write it. I'm not even going to write a number. So I find the derivative.
Do it.
You guys have such high standards for
I'm
definitions.
sorry.
It's okay. I already knew when I
We're
watched
gonna
it.
have to like write down all these definitions on one notebook
I know
for
that
our
the
test. Like,
derivative of e to the
or
x
or
is
like
e to the
memorize
x.
them, which I don't think we're gonna have enough room on our notebook for that. So we're gonna have to memorize these.
You'll use this one enough in this lesson. I bet you'll have it memorized. I don't know, maybe.
I've already forgot all the other
Writing
lessons.
this
definitions.
I don't even.
Well, it's hard when you're expected to memorize something for like the last 11 weeks.
Yeah.
So. For 12, how
I
many?
don't even remember.
I don't even
I
remember
don't even
doing it.
remember what we were doing.
I don't
No, like
remember
in the very
doing
first one, I
class.
probably don't even remember doing any of that. Like, I'm gonna be so.
You'll be okay. What's worst case
That sounds
scenario?
very
Flunk.
We
convincing.
failed.
Okay,
We're
you
all-
fail. That's worst case scenario. Is that
Yeah,
gonna like end anybody's life?
maybe. I don't know.
Shut up.
You're gonna drop dead if you get an F in class. Pretty sure you're not. And if you do, I do not want to be around,
How low
okay?
does my grade have to go in order to?
It's okay.
Yeah,
You guys probably all had A or A pluses first 9 weeks.
Yeah.
It'll average out. It's all good. Don't worry.
Are you serious?
What if I get a 0?
A 0 and an A plus still make it average.
Okay. I don't think you're gonna get a 0. Pretty confident in that. Okay, so do you see how you don't have a point? It just says that point at A. How you're not like given one. Okay, so you're gonna find the limit as h goes to 0. I'm gonna tell you that the limit's 2x minus 8. And then we can
2x minus,
and
okay.
that's a derivative. I'm gonna tell you this is our answer at the end. I'm gonna show you how you get there. Yeah, 2x minus 8.
It's the thing.
Okay, so it's the limit as h goes to 0. Okay, I'm gonna write this out so you can see it. We're putting in a, right? Okay, so this is my formula. Okay, so for my x's, for this first part, we're gonna put in a plus h. So this would be, instead of x squared, I'm gonna put a plus h squared minus 8, and then instead of x, I'm going to put what?
A plus H.
A plus h, and then I have plus 9. And I'm going to run out of space.
Is that hurt something?
Is what?
Yes, it's
Okay,
You're all over something, Ruthie.
then it's minus, I'm gonna put this in parentheses where I'm more in one spot or brackets. Okay, and it says f of a. So that means in my function, now I'm gonna put in what a is. So what's a squared? If I put in a for my x's, this would be a squared, which is just a squared, right? Okay, then I'm putting a in for all my x's now, so then this would be minus a plus 9. All over
2A.
h. Oh, quadratic formula. Okay, now you're gonna do all the math fun stuff where you're like FOIL this out and then combine like terms.
Fun.
Okay? So I'm going to show steps for people that have to watch the video so that everyone can see them. So this would be, remember when you have that multiplied together, it's like squared. So it's like this. Then I would distribute my 8. Don't you know I need to move?
Yeah.
I'm going to FOIL it out in just a second. Right now I'm just showing
wait,
you.
Where'd you get the square?
Where's squared?
Oh,
I already did it.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Now we're confusing you.
Proud.
Who we already covered.
Does everybody understand how I got the rest of this?
Yes.
Okay, now, you see how this is a minus right here? All these need to be minus now. So this would be minus a squared plus 8a minus 9 all over h.
This is exciting.
Okay, does anything already cancel?
A.
Okay, AA's, what else?
9.
The 9's,
A
okay?
squared.
Well, I haven't foiled that yet. Did you already do that?
Yeah.
Good job, Lucas. Okay, so this would be a squared plus AH plus AH plus H squared minus 8H minus A squared. Okay. I feel like if I don't go step by step, somebody will get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go to the next page. Okay, now what cancels?
A.
The A squared, right? Okay, now AH and AH would make 2AH plus H squared minus 8H divided by H. And then I divide by H, right? So this would be 2A plus H minus 8. Okay, now my limit is as H goes to 0, so now I can plug in, right, because I don't have a denominator. So this would be 2A plus 0 minus 8, which is 2A minus 8, which I told you would be 2x minus 8, right? I just didn't tell you it was at point A. That's your derivative at A. Okay. Okay, now you're gonna have a velocity problem, which I'll do an example of that tomorrow. I just didn't know your homework was. It's the same formula. Velocity is just, if you're talking about average velocity, that's your displacement of a moving object over time. So if you want to find the instantaneous or what's happening right now, that's the same function. This is what your displacement is, this is what your time would be. I just like blow your mind, physics mind right there.
Maybe that's where that came from.
Instantaneous velocity, but that's not what it was.
In here?
We did
In
in
physics?
We did it.
You probably use a different formula, but it's essentially the same thing, it's the derivative of that line. Okay.
Wow.
Alright,
Oh,
I know, you were just like, I just blew your mind right there, didn't I? Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before you guys leave, which will be done in like 2 minutes. If you're finding the equation of a tangent line to the parabola at a point, and you already have what that equation is, your point slope equation is essentially, now they're gonna write it as something funky. This slope is what you just found, that's your derivative of the value.
Wait, can you repeat?
Wait, say that again.
What's the equation for?
Okay, so in the book,